So I attempted to go live earlier on YouTube talking about the new moon, which occurs today, January 18th, 2026 at 1:51 p.m. Central Standard Time. Had a lot of technical difficulties. First the camera, then sound, very strange things. So this is a quick recap of that broadcast talking about this new moon. First thing is the moon is in detriment in Capricorn. But in addition to that, the moon is out of bounds. So this makes this even more of a difficult new moon. And this is part of the reason I titled this Will the Baby Survive? Because the new moon is like a birthing period. And there's a struggle for the moon to regain light. And this is complicated when you have the ruler or the moon itself, right? New moon in the opposite of its rulership in Capricorn. So it's already struggling. It's in a place of contraction, and it is a vessel that looks to expand. Cancer is about growth, expansion. Um, it is about life being given the sustenance it needs to continue. Well, Capricorn is about the contraction and taking back the life essence, which is bringing us to a conclusion of things, which is also necessary so that the continuation of life remains in a cyclical form that it moves in. If there's no taking back, then there's nothing to have to start a new cycle. But at the moment, it creates difficulty because Cancer is needed for the nourishment, and the moon is not directly getting that right now in Capricorn. And so this complicates things. At the time of the new moon, we have a 6 planet conjunction that is in 2 signs. We have Mars, Mercury, the sun, and the moon in the last decan of Capricorn. We have Venus and Pluto in the first decan of Aquarius, but they're all answering to Saturn. And what makes this difficult, Saturn ruling Capricorn, which Capricorn is going to deal with our professional endeavors, with our professional face. It's dealing with where we are seen and want to be seen in the world. And then Aquarius is about our future endeavors and aspirations and the people that we will associate with and the concepts we will be associated with, what we will acquire with what has been achieved in Capricorn. All of those are being challenged because the ruler over all those endeavors is in an applying conjunction to Neptune. And Neptune, when it touches things, creates atonation, which is the removal or the taking away or the separation from tone. Tone as in structure. And so Neptune decomposes, breaks down things. So it may seem that all of our endeavors, the goals we're shooting for, and the future aspirations are kind of not going anywhere. Ain't nothing happening, at least not at the speed we want. And we may feel disillusioned. We may feel fatigued. We may feel worried, pessimistic. We may feel, the heaviness of financial concerns and the frustration over a lack of foundation. What we have to ask ourselves is the way we feel indicative of the reality, though? Is it reality, or is it the way things appear, Neptune, at the moment? Now, and then we have to challenge ourselves to envision what we do want to be reality, or the reality we say is reality versus the reality that appears to be reality. We're challenged and being pushed right now as Neptune is as Saturn is applying in that conjunction to Neptune, and it's also moving towards 29 degrees of Pisces. Mars is the lead planet of the sky right now. The planets are in a bowl at the time of this new moon, and the bowl creates a degree of angst and willingness and a sense of urgency to act on things that are emerging rapidly. So, a bowl configuration, when the planets in the sky take on the appearance of a quasi bowl, it creates an ability and a willingness to respond to an emergent situation. And Mars is definitely a planet of emergence. It's the lead planet, and it is also dignified because it's in its exaltation in Capricorn. And this Mars dignified is helping us to combat all of that heaviness that we're feeling because Saturn is applying to Neptune in Pisces. Saturn and Neptune in Aries is different from Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. So it's that last big old mega dose of heaviness that we've been experiencing. We're getting it right now, but Mars is helping to offset that because Mars is saying, hey, let's move. Let's counteract this heaviness. Mars is providing direction. Mars is providing finishing power. And here's a word we don't naturally associate with Mars. It is maturity. Mars is mature in Capricorn. Why? Because Capricorn gives it the somewhere in subconscious. It gives Mars a willing fast, get it over with. But dang, what about if the job wasn't done at the first run? Then Mars is petered out. But Mars in Capricorn has staying power. It wants to achieve the final directive. It wants to achieve the goal. Mars in this lead position of the bowl initiates the T square in the sky because Mars at 26 of Capricorn is in the T square to transiting Chiron at 22 of Aries and retrograde Jupiter at 18 of Cancer. Thankfully, this is not a perfected T square. The energy is dissipating, but we're still feeling the last vestiges of this tight, constrictive, difficult aspects that we've been dealing with through the Capricorn season. And that Chiron and Aries still has us struggling or driven to figure out who we are, the truth of our identity relative to where Aries falls in your individual chart. Who am I? And that push to figure out who you are is also incorporating in your sense of self expectation. You may be judging yourself relative to how you are interacting or the role you see yourself in with other people, various situations. You may be going on a philosophical, intellectual, mental journey, maybe on a literal physical journey. There's a lot of that action right now in the sky with this new moon. This T square between Mars, and we got to also include Mercury and Chiron and Jupiter, is getting released in the sign of Libra. And we know that Libra we typically associate with relationship and love, but love is an action in the sign of Libra. It is an active principle because Libra is a cardinal sign. And the word love traces back to lube, and lube means fat because fat is the necessary ingredient for fire. Fire, fat as in chrism, as in oil, as in the oil on the wick that provides the catalyst. When a spark is provided, then that wick carries that spark and creates a sustained fire. So love helps produce fire. Love, Libra produces Aries just as much as Aries produces Libra. Because from the love, from that fire produces a new spark. And if we don't have a new spark, we don't have anything to bring to be reignited. So they both generate each other. So there's a focus here. And also this focus on Libra makes us deal with identifying what balance really means, because relationship means balance. Libra's associated with the scales symbolically, and we tend to think that Libra through the scales means that the scale sits perfectly balanced. Both sides are even. That's not necessarily what balance is, and is not realistic. That denotes stagnation. The true challenge of Libra is to figure out one's own definition of balance. And when I say one is in one unit as two people, or within oneself. Either way, we're talking about figuring out what's your identity, your idea of balance. If it's in your relationship, what's y'all's idea of balance? Not about what the world says. What type of balance have you all been able to find that creates harmony for you all? That's pressure being applied right now to understand that Libra is ruled by Venus. Venus is now east of the sun. Venus is now in a position where it's in this god, warrior goddess mode, because Venus is a morning star now. She is taking on, she's ready to aware of what she possesses internally, what she's got. Okay. And Venus is also approaching Pluto. It's in an applying conjunction to Pluto, just 2 degrees away. So anything that is in contact with Pluto is forced into a transformative moment. And transformative moment means where something was must go away so that something new can be. So all the planets in the sky, the personal planets, are going through a death, burial, and resurrection type of phase right now relative to Pluto. As we move through Aquarius season, everything goes into the underworld to be rebirthed. Hopefully we don't get trapped in the underworld. So Venus, sustained internal power as the morning star, ready to fight, fighting for financial freedom, fighting for resources, fighting for true value expression, fighting for a renewal of one's sense of self-worth. This Venus approaching Pluto is also talking about deep subconscious stirrings. This is not superficial Venus. This is not vanity Venus. This is, I must get beneath the surface Venus. I must probe the true depths of being Venus, the true depths of the relationship, the true power of the relationship. Maybe relationships are being destroyed. Maybe love is being re-envisioned, reimagined. Maybe all the niceties and fakeness and phoniness and facades are being stripped away. We're getting down to the real deal, right? And that is necessary for the true essence, because Pluto brings out the true essence of things. This is something that's happening at the time of the new moon, helping to set the stage around, hey, is this baby going to survive? But for this baby to survive, we're going to have to be real. And part of being real is the nourishment that is needed for the baby, but not becoming disillusioned and not becoming pessimistic. Real does not mean pessimism. It does not mean being disillusioned. It just means to be honest. And honest does not rob us of vision, and it does not negate the expectancy of winning. The moon in detriment causes physical and metaphysical needs. The moon rules over potassium. Potassium is an electrolyte that's key for nerve response, muscle contraction. It manages the effects of sodium on blood pressure. It supports bone structure, overall blood health, heart health by regulating rhythm. Potassium. Metaphysically, we are electromagnetic beings, and the electric is the masculine spark that we need to keep the vessel humming and to keeping um, the fire lit. The muscle contraction, muscles are ruled by Saturn. Saturn, being a malefic, is catabolic. Um, and the reason that we end up with muscle is because Mars, the lesser malefic, breaks down amino acids from protein that is consumed so that the final result is muscle. So the greater malefic will deal with the final results of things. The lesser malefic is the workhorse, right? So Mars is breaking down catabolics and taking those acids so that they will serve the function. Final result is muscle. And the muscle is formed through resistance training. Potassium helps with muscle contraction during resistance training so that greater muscle. And when we resistance train, we are breaking down muscle. So we need the contraction to help with the breakdown for the buildup. So we are needing the difficulty in life right now to help us build our spiritual, metaphysical muscle. That's a reminder. We need to be self-regulatory. We need to be self-sufficient by building structures within ourselves and around us, even in the midst of it appearing that these structures are not appearing to be sound. They seem shaky. The baby, we're struggling for the baby to survive, but you must not negate what you have been trained to do. If you must not negate the training, the correct training, the correct training for building, you don't abandon it just because inclement weather is um affecting your ability to work. You must continue to follow the training, the correct training, to get the structure built. Reminder of that right now. The moon also rules over vitamin B, and vitamin B helps with the absorption of iron. Why is iron important? Because it helps us attract oxygen molecules so that we can have the breath of life, which then metaphysically is spirit. So we need to be in a position to be able to receive divine information, which is spirit, and to not be bogged down by the rigors of life to where we become disillusioned. You must remain courageous, Mars. You must remain forward thinking, Mars. You must remain willing and overcome laziness. You must be active, Mars. And that willingness to remain active and move forward, even in the midst of being afraid, to keep moving, that allows spirit to continue to speak to you. Your oxygen uptake increases with your increased activity. Sitting still is not the answer. You got to move regardless of feeling like you're afraid, you're worried, you don't know if your movements is going to pan out, work out, pay off. You got to keep moving because otherwise the baby won't survive. Your intestinal fortitude is being tested, and the future is waiting on you line. In conclusion, I want to remind you before you go, thank you for staying this long, but before you go, I want to remind you of my upcoming metaphysical astrology course that will be held on February 22nd at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Let's see if I can figure out how to share this. How do I share? I'm trying to remember how I do this. Visual effects. No, I don't want visual effects. Go to my computer, share screen. I want to go to 720 astrology. I'm going to share that. And you should be seeing it now. Here's the medical astrology. As soon as you go to the site, 720astrology.com, it pops up. You'll just click on the pop-up or click anywhere on it. Click register. And it'll take you to the page, Introduction to Medical Astrology. Sunday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. This will be live via Zoom. Okay. Now, the moment you go and sign up, you will receive your download of our course syllabus / textbook, which will be a 26 slide PDF. That's what we're going to use to go over. And that PDF, let me go back here. Let me see if I can share my other page. I want to share this. Let's see. Share screen. Here's some of the things that you'll find when you're going to get this. You'll get the cardinal cross emphasis. We're going to go over the fixed cross emphasis, mutable cross emphasis, planetary associations, importance of medical crosses, how to calculate your medical crosses, sign rulership. I mean, we're going to go into all the basics that you need to know about medical astrology. But here's the kicker. When you study medical astrology, you're actually getting a beautiful inroad into learning astrology, period. Because what? Your body you've been living with all your life. It's something very practical that you are aware of. You have kidneys, you got a heart, you got a stomach. And as we approach those through the medical lens, we're actually also learning foundations of astrology. So if you're new to learning astrology, if you want to learn about how to have more sovereignty in your own feeling, more empowered, this is definitely for you as well. So I invite you, 720astrology.com, go over. Also, I do provide medical astrology readings. My 2026 forecast readings are also available on the site. A lot of stuff going on. Go check out 720astrology.com. And also go to Google and read our reviews. 720 Astrology. It is a real business doing real readings, real clients, real results. Thank you for your time. Thank you for tuning in. As always, know the stars to know yourself. And of course, stay down till you get up. And when you get up, stay down. Peace.